What's up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of How About That? I'm the host and producer, Vinnie Langdon, and we have a great show for you. I have a friend, he's a musician, he's got lots of experience, and he's in a really cool band out in Northern California. He'll be talking to you guys a little bit about that. His name's Dan Meblin, and Dan, what's going on? Drinking the good stuff over there, huh?
Coffee at night. I always do. Keeps me
There,
awake. How
there
are you, Vinnie? Thanks for having me on your show. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd like to start every episode off by introducing how you and I know each other. And gosh, it takes us back to, I believe, the summer of 2004. And I
Yeah.
was at that point in my life where I said, I know what I want to do with my life. I want to be an actor. So I borrowed my grandfather's video camera, started filming skits in the backyard, threw it on a local public access. And they were like, why don't you go down and film some local bands? And I was like, I guess so. I like music. Hey, music's cool. And that is where I kind of, learned about, video composition and camera angles. And, gradually I went from one camera to two camera to, three, four. And, I just fell in love with it. And Dan, you were kind of like a target practice for me and you and your band.
I remember it was great. And you were, I think you said you were like, what, eighth grade or something like that? And,
Yeah.
and so you were just this little kid. Somebody came up to us. It was it was a place called Creek Walk. It was a big festival. 10,000 people would come. And your dad came up or somebody and said, hey, we'd like to, for the Vinnie Langdon show. And I'm like, ooh, Vinnie Langdon show. And there's this little kid. This like little microphone, and it was great. I'm like, there's Vinnie Langdon, and everyone said, no, he's like on public access. This is a big deal, and that's where it started. We did many of those shows. I changed bands, and you shot so much video of us, and it was just great. And then we've had a friendship ever since. And you helped me now with video projects that I'm working on because I'm still really clueless on video. So you're always helping me. What to buy, what to do. You've edited some of the stuff that I've sent to you, and so anyhow,
Yeah.
great to be here.
Yeah, definitely. Now let's go ahead and take us back, to the teenage years of Dan Meblin, picking up a guitar and playing around. And did you grow up in Northern California?
Yeah, I grew up in just north of San Francisco, Marin County. Yeah,
Okay.
still here. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And played
and
in a couple bands and,
yeah. Well, I had a musical family, so I had a long line of musicians in my family. My father was a jazz musician, played saxophone, and like semi-professionally. He would go do gigs on the weekends. He still had a regular job, um, but he made money playing music for his whole life. And my mother played piano, and my mother's father, my grandpa, was an opera singer from Italy. So my mom was trained at a very young age to play piano, so she could go do gigs with grandpa. Like, because back then there was no iPod. You know, you had to bring a piano player to a gig if you wanted to play, an opera gig. So my mom was, 10, 11, 12 years old doing all these gigs in San Francisco with her dad playing piano. And so it's just, music was just everywhere. Had a piano in my house always growing up, you know, crappy piano that you just bang on and so that's where I'll start. My brother plays music. I played lots of music with my brother over the years growing up, and yeah, and just started, you know, in junior high school having bands and all the way through high school. And by the time I was in high school, 16, I was playing professionally, and like going out and doing paying gigs, like, and going to school the next day with 2 hours of sleep, you know. So
well,
started early, and I still love it. I'm very lucky that I still get to play.
right, right. And I think, the difficult thing about, being in, your late teens, early 20s is trying to find that balance of how do you take something you're passionate about and make it into a living. And you had definitely great mentors that helped you along the way. Your parents were a prime example for you.
Well, the hard thing was, though, to turn it off, and go to school and be a regular kid concentrating on school. It was so hard because it was like my life at night was so much cooler than going to school And so I had, certainly had trouble concentrating in school because my head was up in the stars, you know, playing music and, but, you get through it one way or another, but
You
it's
too.
not an easy life, but it's rewarding and it's fun, you know.
Right, right, exactly. Now you played with, musicians like Michael Bolton, played
A
with
little
Eric
bit.
Martin back, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
tell us about some of those opportunities, some of the other artists you worked with.
I worked with a lot of people over the years. Um, Eric Martin was the first real big one. I mean, I had some before Eric Martin. I started playing with him when I was like 21, and he was local. And so, if you don't know who Eric Martin is, he had some solo success, uh, and then he became really huge with his band Mr. Big, and he had a song called I'm the one that wants to be with you deep inside. I hope you. That was a huge hit, and so that happened after I played with him, and so I still talk to him all the time. But I got in his band. Um, Before that, I'd had a few brushes with fame. Before Eric, I was working with Randy Jackson from American Idol. He was just a local guy in the Bay Area, and I did sessions with him and knew him, and really surprised when I saw him on American Idol. All those years later, it's like, wow, he's a brilliant guy. He's a producer, and he just plays every instrument and was a writer. And so it made sense, But it was like,
Right,
wow, that's Randy.
right,
But
right.
yeah, I went off and did Eric. Did a lot of recording with Eric. Toured with Eric. We toured with uh, uh, Eddie Money, and did shows with Tina Turner and Night Ranger and just everybody, And so my early 20s, I had a lot of fun doing that,
Yeah,
and
that's cool.
and that's how, yeah. Then I met Michael Bolton through that because we had a connection with the guys in Journey. They're all from the Bay Area here, and so when I was playing with Eric, Eric's manager was also Journey's manager, and so we kind of all got to hang out with Journey like back when they were big and they were the nicest guys ever, and that's how I met the Michael Bolton. It's just all sort of it all kind of connects, but
Right. And all these years later, you decided, hey, the whole party band, cover band thing might be an ideal, a great opportunity for
yeah.
you. You had to go and work a normal job after all those years. And then
Mm.
you said, hey, I want to keep playing music. And this is an avenue where I could, be on stage on the
So
weekend playing in
I,
front of crowds.
I didn't really know that this existed. So um, I'd had little bar bands. You go and you make $50 and you get free beer and you play Mustang Sally or whatever, and and that's kind of what 99% of musicians do. You go out and it's a little fun thing you do on the weekends, and I really didn't know that there was this big level, these big high end cover bands that play these corporate parties and play fancy weddings, and I sort of was introduced to it through a friend of mine, and the band was called Tainted Love. They're in San Francisco, and they're probably like the world's greatest '80s band. They're huge. They fly all over the world, and so I got a call, and I got to go play with Tainted Love for a bit, for about 30 shows. And I was just hooked. It was like, wow, I need to do this myself. This is incredible because you can make the kind of money, you can make an actual living when you're in a band that's kind of on that level that works that much. Also, you're working, 8, 10, 12 shows a month, 2, 3 times a week, for really good money. So I did the Tainted Love thing, absolutely loved it. And then from there, I just jumped, immediately into another band just like it, called the Cheese Balls. And that's where I met you. After about 6 years of that, I decided to run my own business. And that's where Pop Fiction started.
Now, when I first met you guys, you were with the band The Cheese Balls, and, you know, after doing this for so long, I developed, where I consider myself like, a kind of like a Randy Jackson, or a Simon Cowell. Like I'm critical when it comes to music now. And, at that time when I first heard the Cheese Balls and later down the road Pop Fiction and comparing it to other bands that were kind of in the same realm doing the same stuff where it was every week they're playing the same venue, the same music. And what was great about you guys is you stood out, you were dressed up, all your musicians, they looked professional, they sounded professional, and I liked how you guys covered all, decades too. You weren't
Yeah.
just going, hey, let's play the Black Eyed Peas because it's 2003 and, this is what's on the radio. You're getting, you know, different generations involved in your set. And,
Yeah.
how'd that
That's,
come across?
that's the whole idea. Once again, it's that giant crowd. You don't know who's out in that crowd. You got to make everybody happy. And so you jump around a lot, and part of the thing is picking these songs that are going to work, and they're going to make people dance, and even above and beyond that is picking clusters of songs that will go together so that you don't ever have to stop. And I love doing that. Like kind of you have sort of a DJ mentality where you're like, look, we really hooked them with this first one. Every time we play this song, they all come out to the dance floor. So let's hook three more onto that they don't necessarily come running out to the dance floor for, but if they're already dancing, they will not leave. So you kind of construct these medleys and segues that kind of keep it going. And so, you only want to stop every 10 or 15 minutes, just for a second,
There you
um,
go. And
but yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you have to play something for everybody. And, especially at all the weddings, we do so many weddings, and with weddings, there's a lot of older people. The older relations are there, the aunts and the grandmas,
the
and
bridezillas.
yeah, well, we try not to use that word, but it's a correct phrase. Um, um, but yeah, you've got the older people, and the thing is they're not going to stay for the whole wedding, but they're going to be there for the first hour of the dancing, and you've got to hit them with a few things that they're going to enjoy, or else they feel really left out. And I remember like years ago when I was just starting to run Pop Fiction and writing the set lists, and I remember some old man came up to me and just really berated me at the end. It's like, you didn't play a single song from my era that my wife and I could enjoy and have a couples dance with. And because I just didn't think it was that important because there was younger people there and I wanted high energy and dancing. I didn't realize that it really kind of irked this guy. He was like, and so I always have this rule. It's like the first 10, 15 minutes, you got to hit like a Sinatra song or just something, it won't kill the vibe, but it'll make those older people that don't want to stay all night, make them happy, make them incredibly
We've
happy.
been living in odd times right now where unfortunately to let, my viewers here in New York know that you are the type of band that's booked, 99% of the year, every
Yeah.
weekend you guys are full, except
100
for
shows a year, usually about 100 shows a year. It's crazy.
right. You guys are always busy and even a lot of work goes into, making each show the best. So you got a lot of prep and all of a sudden now, people are, getting in lockdown and this pandemic's going around and a lot of shows are being canceled. And unfortunately, that you're going, well, we're not going to make money next weekend and the next weekend, or
Make
this
money
is a
this year, basically.
right.
Yeah.
So what do you think that musicians could do? I mean, this is affecting everyone. I know people are even messaging me going, man, can I be on your show just to get exposure? And, should they take this time if they're an original band? Should they be writing material? Other cover bands, should they be learning the new songs that are, popping out on the radio?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, yeah, from basically the last show that I played was February 29th. That was it. That was a Saturday, I believe, February 29th, and it was the last show we did. And then I had a big March all booked, and about 1 week into March, maybe a week and a half into March, that's when it all stopped. And I remember the first thing was the NBA canceled, and I said, "Oh boy, this is really big." And then, the governor shut down, and put the rules in about no bars and restaurants and clubs and things like that, no gatherings. And so basically the whole summer canceled. And it didn't cancel immediate. It was like, in March, it was like April canceled. And then at the end of March, May started canceling. And then, et cetera. It would sort of leapfrog about 2 months. And so now September is canceling because now we just, and basically there's no new business other than stuff that's for next summer. All that stuff is still booking. So we're like all filling up for next summer. And I hope this thing is gone by next summer, but yeah, it's been horrible. And it's my only source of income. Some of my band members have other jobs, thank God, some don't though. And just everything just came to a screeching halt. And so yeah, what I've done more than anything, because we can't even really get together because of social distancing, I've just been trying to, redo all the videos and, just take, make use of this time to make my promo better for next year. And yeah, like learn new songs and do that. So I did a lot of that. And the one thing that, I was very lucky about is that I just was a pack rat with video footage. And you helped me with some of the video footage that I was going through and editing. One of the things I learned how to do pretty well was edit video during this break because I was terrible at it. And I had all this time. So I learned Adobe Premiere, but I'd had bad experiences because, you need promo videos for these bands and, not like hold up your iPhone promo video, but like a professionally cut thing that was shot and looks nice and has cuts and edits. So I would always hire videographers to come and shoot, but they never really got enough good footage, and something would go wrong at the show and the background of the stage would look awful, or, somebody's, it was really hard to just have a 2-hour window where all the video was shot. I was never really satisfied. And so I just said, and then all of a sudden you get all this video and then someone leaves the band and you have to get new video of the new person. So it's just, it's an ongoing thing. So I just decided a few years ago, buy a couple good cameras. I bought a couple, cheap, I got a GoPro and a Canon, and I just bring them to every show and I just shoot a little bit, 10 minutes of footage at every show.
There you go. And, we talked in the past, and why video is so important is because, these promoters, these people that run venues, they'll say, hey, we would like to play at your venue. Well, we don't know who Pop Fiction is. Well, you first get a nice website, start there. And then, later on add the videos. And people, yeah, you can send them an MP3 or a WAV file, but, you send me a Whitney Houston cover, I'll be like, hey, I don't know if this is really Whitney Houston when you just took her music, I want to see what you guys look like, and showing the crowds, that's very important as well. So, with these videos that you recently have done, they have helped you, book those shows for next summer too.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of good response off of them. And you mentioned one thing that the one thing I really wanted in my promo was not only to show off the band and how fun we are and how good we sound and but to show off the sort of the level of clients and the level of gigs that we've already done that sort of impresses them. Like, wow, these guys must be legit. Look, they're playing in front of 4,000 people here. They're playing in front of a giant video wall, and and so I was sort of trying to showcase the coolest gigs in my video as well. So if we played a gig that the stage looked awful, there was a truck behind it, I didn't really bother shooting video of that because it just looked herky jerky.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to show you guys a clip from Dan's band, Pop Fiction, so you guys can see what Dan is all about. And when we come back, we'll wrap things up and we'll see you guys in a bit. So come on. All right. Well, you just saw Dan's video, and you know what's funny about that is In Sync, believe it or not, was actually like my first like real concert.
Oh, wow.
And that was like at the Oakland Coliseum, and that was like right at the height, when Justin Timberlake was a big thing, and that was pretty cool. And Dan, what was your first concert?
Oh God, we're going back to the Stone Age now. Let me even think what my first big concert would have been. I mean, I think I have a brother 2 years older than me, and so it was very cool growing up to have a big brother. He drove, and he was into rock and roll, and so I think Aerosmith might have been the first one that he took me to. Maybe Aerosmith in the Oakland Coliseum, and it was just crazy, but it basically looked just like that movie, Almost Famous. Just crazy parties in the parking lot. And I was just a kid, and yeah, definitely good times back then. But the thing about the NSYNC song we're doing right now, I have this formula with the cover bands is you go back 20 years, and from now. So that's basically about 2000. That's when NSYNC and Backstreet Boys were massive. And so if you're in 2020, you go back 20 years, and that's the music that is certainly wedding clients just go crazy for, because they were like little 10-year-olds when that came out. And so they love that stuff for their wedding, so you kind of subtract 10 or 20 years from where you are right now. And that's the stuff that makes your clients that are getting married, at least, just lose their minds. So I've
Hey,
always learned that works.
there you go. That's fun.
Yeah.
So if people want more information, they're like, hey, Stan seems like a cool guy. I want to check out more of his band. I mean, not only are you guys playing gigs in California, if it's in the budget and they're having an event in New York or you know
Yeah.
London, wherever they're watching this, and they want to get Pop Fiction to be at their party, you're open to whatever, right?
Absolutely. It's really, actually, with technology today, it's very easy to just get on an airplane and go anywhere, because you can just bring all your programming for your keyboard or whatever, or just on a disk, and bring it, and it's real simple. So yeah, we've done stuff all over the country, and hope we can do more.
That is cool. Well, Dan, people can go to Pop Fiction Band, right? Your website.
Popfictionlive.com.
There you go.
Popfictionlive.com, and my Facebook is facebook.com/Dan Popfiction. That's me.
There you go. Fantastic. Well, I did want to touch on this. Let's go back a little bit here. Is you have experience with, especially during like this time right now where you're going, man, a lot of musicians don't have access or can afford to go to a studio, but with modern technology, they can get themselves, a decent computer, they can get some audio software, and they can,
Yep.
basically have their own home studio and not have to deal with, producers and engineers. And give us some tips on that real quick.
Yeah, I have sitting in my little home studio right now, and actually one of the things I've been doing is doing solo videos right now, just with me and piano and vocal, because I know that the little gigs are going to come back first. The big shows aren't going to come back for a while, but I can get restaurant gigs and winery gigs, I think, where they can still social distance the people. And so I'm trying to kind of focus on that more at the moment. So I'm doing demos for that. But now I have a little studio, and it really doesn't take much. You just have to have like a decent computer, a decent microphone. You can get something like that for, that's a nicer one, but you can get $100 microphone on Amazon. That's pretty good. And there's literally free software that you can use on your computer. I use something called Sonar, and there's like a free version of that, bandlab.com. You can get a free version of what they call Cakewalk, BandLab Cakewalk. So there's free software you can use. It's not very hard. You can do your own demos. You can shoot your own videos. A lot of people are just shooting webcam videos, things like that. But don't be afraid to do all this stuff yourself. It's not that hard to do. It's not that hard to do anymore. It really isn't.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Dan, right here from Pop Fiction, it was great chatting with you, and thanks for being a guest on How About That. And once again, people want more information, head over to his website, check out his Facebook, give him a like, And hopefully we'll see you out here on the East Coast soon, Dan.
I hope so.
All right, man. Good talking with you. We'll see you
All
later.
right.